Hey everybody, welcome to a review of the AverMedia HD Game Capture 2, a device that I use to record my gameplay footage from my consoles via HDMI. It is the only one that supports HDMI of the AverMedia if you want to record without a PC. There is another model, the first one, the AverMedia HD Game Capture, that records in HD component cables. I do have that, but I'm currently not doing a review on it because I've already got my HD Game Capture 2 set up, so I thought to save time I'd do a review on this product and then go back and do the other one. So I just want to give some backstory of why I use this type of capture card, because when I first started, my first ever capture card was the EasyCap DC60 and the DC60 Plus, and I used that to record my gameplay footage on my 360 and PS3 when they first came out, and when YouTube was basically a new thing. It was very hard because you could only do an AV, and there wasn't, like, the only HD one was very expensive, around the 300 quid mark, and if you're someone who can't afford it like me, you have to go with a cheap alternative. So I went with the EasyCap because it was only $12.99 and recorded in component cables. You get the normal 480p quality, which was good, don't get me wrong. That could be useful for some old consoles, but recording the Xbox, you weren't really going to get that good quality. And the issue that I had is because that EasyCap was component to USB, so you have to have a computer or a laptop. So what you do is you hook up your console to the capture card and the capture card to your PC or laptop, and then you record it on the program software that you have on your computer. The only issue is with every new model, you need a computer that was fast enough to handle the software. The EasyCap could run fine on my computer at the time, but the quality wasn't good, so I tried to get a new, better one. There was the Dazzle, which my mate had, and that had the S-Video feature, which was an upscale of the component cables, which made the quality look good, and at the time, that was brilliant. That was fantastic to use, but again, it was like a £50 item and I couldn't afford it, so I still had the EasyCap, but I would borrow my mate's one just to record some clips. It wasn't until like a few years later when the HD PVR was introduced. That was the £300 capture card at the time, and it was very good. It could record standard component and HD component cable, which I quite liked, but the only issue is I could never afford it because it was too expensive. I remember a YouTuber, Easy1 Baller or Code Magic, used to use it to record his Call of Duty gameplay footage, and it looked amazing. And I have got that one now, and I will do a review on it because it is a nice piece of hardware, but it was just simple and something to use. Then there was capture cards, like HD capture cards, like HDMI input and output, that you can use with your computer. Those were great because have used some in the past, but the only issue with them ones as well is that you need a good computer, and since I always could never afford to have a good decent computer because I was still young, I wasn't working, well, I was still at school at the time, so of course I weren't working, so I couldn't have the money to buy a decent computer to run the programs needed with those capture cards. So I was still like put on hold about the whole situation. Like, I've owned, I have used them, but I could never run them smoothly because my capture card would either crash or just lag out of control. Then I got introduced to the AverMedia HD Game Capture, and that was the first best capture card I've ever used because it records. The sole purpose is to record without a PC. That is beautiful. I think all capture cards should be like that, to record freely without a PC. And the HD game capture used HD component cables, which at the time I was using for my Xbox and PS3, so I had no issue with it. I went half with my brother, so I've only paid 30 quid. And you get a remote with it so you can push and record. And the file size is very easy and the quality was amazing. Then they upscaled it and made the HD Game Capture 2, currently the one that I'm using and making this review from. That used HDMI input and output. and it could record freely without a PC. It had a few extra features that were better than the first one, meaning you could record live commentary now with a mic input, whereas the first one you couldn't. You would have to get an audio, you have to use a computer audio program to record your voice on the computer and then sync it with the gameplay footage for live commentary. With the HD Game Capture 2, you could put a mic input in and record your voice freely doing live commentary. Easy, no problem. That is good, but it is limited. You have to use a microphone jack. You can't actually use like a USB mic, or you can't use a mic that's XLR. So you will have to try and find a good mic with a nice jack to go in there. I never used the HD Game Capture for live commentary because I've only wanted to record the gameplay footage and then upload montages onto montages. That's it. Oh my god. After all these years, I can't even say it right. I want to do them sort of clips and put them onto YouTube. And I still use this capture card now. I'm actually currently using it to record my Nintendo Wii U because I'm playing Wii games at the moment, so I want to record in HDMI, and we all know the Wii can't support HDMI, but the Wii U can, and since it's backwards compatible, smashing by the way, I hooked it up with my HD Game Capture and I'm using it to record my old Wii games. And if you don't have HDMI, or you don't have a Wii U and you only have a Wii, the Wii does have HD component cables. And the brilliant thing about the HD Game Capture 2 is that it has HD component cable inputs. So you can have the HD component cable inputs and have a HDMI output, which is smashing, so you can still record and watch on the TV at the same time. So it's a brilliant feature and I quite like it, and I think if you have any other consoles that have HD component cables, you can use that device and convert around it. So it's a nice little freeway gimmick that I've have used from time to time. I think for the money that you're paying for it, yes, 120 at the time was a lot, but what you get out of it is perfect. You get 1080p quality. You get it can only do 1080p 30 frames per second, but it's a capture card that records without a use of a PC, so it's not going to be 1080 60 frames per second, but it will do 1080 30 frames per second, which is still good. So if you're worried about having a good PC, if you're worried about not having the hardware to record it, don't worry. If you get this, which you can now get for under 100 quid, you can then record onto a hard drive or an internal hard drive. Yes, you can have a hard drive USB in, like I do, or you can have a 3.5 or 2.5 internal hard drive and then record onto that and then take it out and then transfer over to your PC and then do the editing. And I do have some gameplay footage of Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So when the game first came out, I played on Xbox and I used this capture card to record all three games while I ventured through it, and the quality that is shown on the capture card is brilliant. It is superb. I know that if you get like a 4K capture card, which I do have now, then you could probably get better quality than 1080p, but 1080p is still considered HD. So if you're trying to go for 4K, don't bother, because you've got to understand, not everyone has a 4K monitor to watch 4K stuff. I still watch things on my 4K monitor in 1080p because most stuff being recorded is only in 1080p. It's only if rarely that you find people recording in 4K. I record in 4K because I want to give people that option, but if you worried about recording 4K, using up that much memory and rendering, and you don't have the hardware to process all that, 1080p is still just as fine. In fact, it's even better because it's so much more simpler now, especially with the capture card prices. I hope later on down the line they release a 4K one. I know it sounds stupid because AverMedia have 4K captures. I have the AverMedia 4K 60 frames per second capture card in my PC. Now I've got a proper gaming one, and I use that to record my PS4 and Xbox One. If they released a hands-free, record without a PC model of the AverMedia HD Game Capture, then I would definitely buy it and probably recommend that, because it's better to have the option to record in 4K, then not. And as well, you got to really think, what games are you going to be recording in 4K? Does it support 4K? If you're recording, I don't know, for example, if you're recording on PS3 or Xbox 360, 1080p is the max you need, because those consoles were not designed for 4K. In fact, no game on the 360 or PS3 supports 4K. There are some games on PS4 rather, and Xbox One that don't support 4K. New games now will, but if you're that person who likes playing old games rather than new games, 1080p is all you need, and I definitely recommend this product. And if you're wondering what hard drive should I get, I say 1 terabyte is all you need. Not even that, 500 gig would do it. And they don't cost anything nowadays. In fact, it's like 20 to 50 quid on like a 2 to 4 terabyte. So yeah, now if you're buying it now, you're getting a massive bargain and you're saving a lot. Back then when I bought it, I only used the 500 gig one because they were expensive. So now I use like a 2 terabyte one, and that's overkill because I have like 999 hours of recording space. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's fucking insane. But yes, that is the review that I want to do on the AverMedia HD Game Capture 2. It's a nice capture card. Did me great over the years. In fact, it's the one capture card that I can rest easy on, knowing that I don't have to worry about having a fast running PC. In fact, if I ever decide to get rid of my PC and just stick to editing, I will go back to that capture card. It's always going to be there. I don't care about 4K quality, but if the 4K one was there, I would buy it just so I can know that I have that option of rendering in 4K. But yes, I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. If you want to see more reviews from me, then all I'm going to do is like the video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on post notifications by ticking that bell to get the update when I post new videos each week. And I'll see you next time. But until then, take care.